it's Oa and welcome back to my channel for another video. And today I am going to be transferring from this notebook to my new notebook for the second half of 2023. This journal is now full, so I'm going to be migrating the spreads that I will be using in my second half of the year. I will still keep using this journal for some of the yearly trackers, but I'm gonna be adding a couple new things and just showing you what I'm doing with this new notebook. Both of them are from Seques on Amazon. They're just two separate colors from the same company. I will link everything down below if you are interested. And basically my theme for the first half of the year was a moon theme, so I'm planning on keeping it up and keeping the same vibe so that both journals work together, and things like my yearly trackers, year in pixel, anxiety, and all of these I will keep using, but I don't have the space at the end of the journal to keep going, so I will just be using both journals at the same time. For my supplies, I am going to be using some paint for this setup, just like I did for my first half of the year, and just using black and white. I will also be using my Faber-Castell Pit Artist pens for my line art, as well as my Uniball eye pens. And to add any coloring or lettering or anything like that, I will be using these two Tombow Duo Brush markers to add some details to this theme. Hi, I am now switching to a voiceover for the rest of this video, and I am starting by making the cover page. And for this one, as you saw just before, I went in the same style as my first journal for the first half of the year. I had a black border all around the page, and I had one side, on the left side, a quote page, and then a cover page on the other side, and I really wanted to keep that energy and same vibe for this new journal, so I did the exact same black border all around. And this time I actually learned from my mistake that I made when I first did the setup back in December. Because I had so many issues painting the journal last time. I put paint everywhere because I did not protect the journal, and I didn't put any tape or anything, so I had so many issues and pages like sticking together, paint on other pages and stuff. So this time, to make sure everything was clean, I used a scrap piece of paper to put on the edge to not have it go on the pages underneath it, and I put a pink border of tape for the side to have the white part on the left side. So in the end, the whole border came out super clean, and I was super happy with that. And to make it a little bit more interesting, I added some stars. I made them pretty uneven and just like random, just to keep it pretty simple to make, and then to just like make it a little bit more interesting, I added some dots as well, trying to stay regular and have like things pretty small, even though it was pretty hard. I don't have a brush that is small enough to do these kind of details, and I haven't found a good one yet, so I just did as I could, and I think the end result looks really cool. and then in the top half of the page I added a moon, and to represent it being the middle and end of the year I did a half moon, with the white side being the first half of the year that is already started, and then the black part, the part that is going to happen in this journal, kind of like being all poetic and stuff. And then I just added the same little white dots in the black side, and to make it a little bit more interesting I added kind of like a cloud of sparkles around the moon. And then underneath it I had the code page made. So for the whole quote, I went on Pinterest and searched for more moon related quotes, just like I did for my other journal, and I found "You are still whole no matter what phase you're in," and I thought that it was poetic, and I really wanted that to be this kind of intention for this part of the year. And what I really wanted to do for this second journal is to have complementary pages to the ones I already have, and just to add in some things that I felt like I was missing in my old journal, and that could make my life a little bit easier. For my second page, I am adding a goals page once again, and if you watched my other video, you know that I already had a goals page, but I made a 12-month with goals for each month, and it does work for me, but I have felt like I needed kind of like a section for bigger goals for like the entire year, because it's good to focus on each month, and it has been helping me, but it's not enough. I feel like I need to see the bigger picture when it comes to goals. So for this journal I added in a second goals page, and what I did is I just had those 4 moons on the 4 quarters of the page, and then I just made a box, just like going from one moon to the other, and then the center of all of it is the quadrant to make the quadrant of the page, so it's centered to have the middle, and then I will just add a cross in the middle to have 4 categories. I hope this made sense. I don't know if I'm explaining this very well, but basically I chose to have 4 categories to organize my goals, which is personal, health. If you don't know me, I have a lot of health issues and a lot of health goals as well. I'm paralyzed from the waist down, and I am well determined to make that change, because I have a sickness that I can go back from and move again. And then the 2 last ones are socials, for social medias, and school, because I'm going back to school in August. Moving on, this page is a brand new page in my journal. I had never made one like this before. It is a bucket list, and I really wanted to include this in my journal for this, just because I want to do more things, but sometimes when I think about something, I just don't like write it down, and then I forget all about it. So I just wanted a place to just have the things that I would like to do someday, and to have like a reminder of those things to make me more inclined to actually make them happen, if that makes sense. I have a lot of things that I want to do but usually don't do them. It is a very simple spread. I just have the 2 list formats with 2 categories, which one is for activities, the other one is for projects. And then at the top I just have the title, which is bucket list, with a mini doodle of the full moon cycle. So a very, very simple page, nothing too crazy for this one. And then we are already moving on to the next page, and this page is a yearly tracker. It is a year in pixel style, which if you have never heard of these, they are pretty classic bullet journal spreads. They are a tracker that you can use for the entire year. In the case of this one, I only have from June to December, because I don't have the I don't want to have it for the start of the year and have it blank, so I just made it a little bit smaller. You basically have 1 column for each day, for each month that you want to track. So if you want to do 12 months for the year, you have 12 columns. I only have 7, and then it is 31 squares tall for all 31 days of the month, and you basically have 1 square per day of the year. And then at the bottom I have a monthly average, which is just basically a way to see how you did if you just like make the average of every month to see kind of like what month were better than another one, to have a little bit more data, I guess. And for this one, I am making it an antihistamine tracker, which I think is very specific to me and what I need, but I still wanted to share it. I have a lot of allergies. I have especially very rare allergy. I have cold urticaria and heat urticaria, and it is the summer when I need to take 3 antihistamines per day in order to survive the summer, because I'm allergic to heat. So it's very difficult, but it's even more difficult for me that I don't remember to take my antihistamines, because they are the kinds of medication that you have to wait 2 hours after a meal, but then you have to wait another hour after you've taken it before you can eat again. So it's a whole mess, and I never know when I can take it or not. But those types of trackers are also very used for things like mood trackers, anxiety tracker. You can do a dream log. You can do basically anything with this kind of trackers. And speaking of making a little bit of everything with these kind of trackers, I'm making a second one. This one you will see for what it looks like for the entire year, because this one starts in January from this year all the way through to December. So it is 12 squares wide, and it is going to be a seizure tracker. I started experiencing seizures back in December of last year. They are non-epileptic seizures, so they aren't, it's not epilepsy, it's my neurological disorder that causes them. And since April, they've been getting pretty frequent, and I really need to know, like, see the patterns, if there's patterns, and just to have more data on them than just noting in a calendar when I have one. So I decided to track them that way, and I will probably make a list format as well as a tracker to have more data on the actual seizure, but this one is more to just know which days I have one. For instance, I had 2 just last week, so I really need to know exactly what triggers them in order to avoid my triggers. So I really think this tracker is gonna help me a lot in my journey with dealing with seizures. But yeah, you can see just how I'm decorating the page now. It's pretty easy, and if you are interested in this page and you want to have, if you have any kind of chronic illness and you are interested in this kind of pages, I actually sell on my website in my own shop. I also have an Etsy shop where I sell a chronic illness planner. So if you are interested in getting one of those for yourself, you can find that in the description box down below. It is very helpful to deal with chronic illnesses. But now we can move on to the next page, and for this one it is going to be a to-do routine. I have shared this page before, but it is a brand new one in my personal bullet journal, and I discovered it while making a kind of like 10 pages idea for another YouTube video. If I can find it, I will link it then in the cards and in the description box down below. But it is basically a page where you can organize some to-dos that you do on a regular basis and have them all listed in one place. For the layout of the page, I just have 11 by 10 squares boxes, and they are 2 squares apart in the middle and 1 square apart in height. And I have one column in black and one column that is going to be in white, just to have a little bit of something different that makes the page a little bit more interesting. And then I have kind of like categories, and I will explain how they all work. So I'm gonna go in each line. The first line, I have the daily to-dos, and then on the left side, and then on the right side I have every other day. Then I have twice a week on the left and once a week on the right, and then the last line I have every 2 weeks and then once a month. And then basically you can organize inside of those boxes the tasks that you do on these regular basis. So for example, you can add do your bed every day, or maybe open your window, I don't know, and then vacuum maybe twice or once a week depending on if you have a dog or not. Like you can just organize, and then you have a way to see at one glance kind of like your routine and how you organize yourself. You can also see kind of like what you need to do more of, less of. And once you make your plan for your week, you can look back on this page and see like, oh, what do I need to fit in on what day, depending on how many times you do that task, if that makes sense. My next page is also something new that I am trying out for the first time, and it is a self-care bingo, and I decided to do the same black border around the entire page. If you can hear some noise, I'm very sorry for that. I have been joined by my dog Skyla, and she is making some noise, so hopefully you can't hear her too much. But I basically decided to do the border all around the bingo spread, which is a huge box, and it has 6 by 6 squares inside of it, and there's 4 in each direction. I'm very bad at math, but I'm pretty sure that makes sense 16. Don't quote me on that though, because math is really not my strongest suit. But this is a new page for me. I really want to do more self-care things, especially because I'm going back to school and I want this to be a priority to maintain a good mental health and be more aware of myself and take care of myself. So I am making this spread for that. The way it is used is basically you have a square for an activity, and then you can add any activities. You can do it for multiple reasons. In this case, it's going to be self-care. And if you don't know what a bingo is, it's basically you just color in once you do something. It's based on a game if you don't know it, but basically I will use it and I will it's kind of like enticing to remind myself of things that I can do to help myself. I still need to figure out some ideas. If you have any tips or ideas on self-care things, please leave them in the comments. That might be very useful. But basically, I'm just gonna use this spread as kind of like a reminder and to help me think more about self-care and taking more care of myself. And we are now at the very end of this video with the last page, and this one is a classic spread for me. I would never set up a new bullet journal without this page. It is a 6-month calendar and it is my favorite calendar layout. It basically allows you to have a space, or more like a line, to write an event per day, so you really see the entire month at one glance. I feel like it's a little bit more visual than maybe a future log where you just have a list of all the appointments or all of the events. This way you really have like a calendar format, I guess. And the way you make it, you basically have the first column on the left, which is 1 square wide for the days of the month, and then you have 8 squares wide sections per day, per month, and in those sections you have 1 square wide column that is for the first letter of the days of the week, so you know which days of the week they are. And to make it a little bit more visual, I added some gray to highlight all of the Sundays for the Sundays and Saturdays, so the weekends for the entire 6 month. Unfortunately, you can't really see it that well on camera because I used a super light gray, so I'm really sorry for that. But here you can see I'm adding the days of the month, and then next to it I'm just adding the first initials of the days of the week for every day, and that way it's very visual. For example, in July, I can just see like the 3rd is a Monday, and then in August it's a Thursday, and so on and so forth. and then I'm just adding a black line with my fine liner under each Sunday, so it's a little bit more visual for me. And that's basically about it for this page. I added some doodles afterwards on the upper right side and then the title, but that is basically all that I did. And I did want to mention that I'm going to have a flip through right at the end, but I added one bonus page that isn't in this video in the flip through, which is an expense tracker. The video was already so long, so I cut out the expense tracker from the video, but I have made this specific tracker about 100 times, so I don't think it's too bad if I didn't show it this time. You can go back and watch some of my past videos if you'd like to see this specific way of making it. But it is a very simple spread. You will see it in the flip through. But now I'm just adding the last details, and it is basically the end of this video. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to see more, definitely subscribe for more. Turn on the post notification bell if you want to get notified whenever I upload next. My goal would be to hit 1,000 followers by the end of the year, so if you want to help me support this channel, please subscribe. Also check out all of my other socials in the description box down below. I do post more frequently on there, and I have a lot more bullet journaling content on Instagram and TikTok. I also have my own small business. If you want to go check that out, you can get yourself a digital bullet journal that you can just print at home. And without further ado, enjoy the flip through, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!